Lord, we pray that as we offer up our little bit of oil and meal, that you would do many great things from it in the lives of others until the day that you return. And we thank you in Jesus' name and ask your blessing. And all your people said, Amen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I was going to joke and give you a Ron Renner welcome. I usually like to embarrass him. Ladies and gentlemen, would you give... But I won't do that. Yeah, she's already about to leave, so I'm going to stop. Okay. But Sero came all the way from Orange County, where she lives, to be with us. She works at World Relief. She's been there much longer than I have. But we work together in particularly her area is community and church engagement. Community engagement management. Do I got that right? Yeah, okay. And so she came a long way to be with us, and so can we give her a nice round of applause and we let her now let you tell us what we're learning. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. So while I am using a mic and while we are using this whole room here, I would like for us to I want you to feel like we're actually sitting in the round table together, okay? So my name is Sero. So Sero is probably easier for you to say. So S-E-R-O. I am a Korean immigrant, raised here, 30 years of being an immigrant. I know you could do your math and guess when I came. I am bilingual, bicultural, meaning I speak two languages, and I boundary between the Korean culture as well as American culture, bicultural, and multicultural in a lot of ways because God gave me a heart for a mission. God gave me a heart for a global. And the part of the mission that God has taught me isn't just something you do somewhere over there, get on a plane. While I love traveling, while I love going on short, long-term mission trip, I'm also learning right here, today, we get to live as a missionary in the ordinary, just as we are. We don't have to be expert in so many great things, which that's great too. We simply get to show up as we are. So one of the things I don't know if you guys usually bring snacks to share, which you guys probably do, but I do actually like to tie that into our time. So I brought Brazilian chocolate, like a little wafer chocolate, to this table. Because Brazil is one of those places that, yes, that is where your pastor's wife is from, but it's on my bucket list. One day I want to go there. And something about that snack is very nostalgic for me. It's like a wafer, like chocolate wafer, and I grew up loving wafer snacks, so that's why I brought. What did you bring? And why did you bring that? Just share it out. Do you like?
That's what I do.
Guacamole and chips. Guacamole and chips.
So why did you bring guacamole and chips?
Because I had chips, right?
Right? You have abundance of avocados that are ready.
And we love it.
Mm-hmm.
And jelly beans.
Jelly beans. And why jelly beans? Maybe for...
Pastor.
Oh, okay.
Me and Ron ready.
Okay.
I guess we'll fry salsa and chips.
Chips and salsa, okay. Why chips and salsa?
It was in my house a lot.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like salsa?
Okay, a lot of people do like chips and salsa. And you had it available. Yes, sir?
We brought cheesecake
Cheesecake.
last Lord's Day evening, but tonight someone already ate it.
Can I just say it wasn't me? Is that funny, guys? I got chicken Alfredo, right? Because my wife asked me to.
Good job.
Yes.
One more? No pressure.
I had a large container of oatmeal, so I made oatmeal cookies.
Okay.
And I also brought brownies.
Okay. Brownie. So the theme here is whatever you had abundance of in your home, you brought to share. So the reason I actually like doing potluck as part of like good neighbor team training is that I get to remember I bring myself to as I am to the space, including the food. I told you a story. Now you know Sero wants to go to Brazil, right? Now you know something about the waiver reminds you of her childhood. And something about you, like bringing whatever you did, is still a little bit about yourself. And we get to lean into that. And this space, this training, ultimately is about that. I simply get to remind you, we come as we are, the way God made us, for today with 5 loaves, 2 fish. Sorry,
I think
that's not me, right?
No,
Is that me?
no, it's Juliana. Dad, it's Juliana.
Oh, it's
Okay.
Juliana?
Yeah, she's rubbing a bottle against the table.
Okay, great.
Oh, sorry. I'll go get her.
So 5 loaves and 2 fish. Maybe it will be used as a miracle to feed 5,000 and more. Maybe it's just simply to share with a friend. Still worth it. You never know. And obviously, who's the giver? Yes, sir. Yes.
The Lord.
Yes, thank you. So this time, just lean in, ask question. Hopefully, it will be informative as much as it's fun. Okay? Okay. I'm gonna ask us to open up our Bible. If you do. Don't get your service here. Luke chapter 10, verse 30. It's a well-known story for you, and it goes along obviously with the training Good Neighbor team. And I want Luke 10. And I want to invite you to not imagine yourself as the Good Samaritan. A lot of us want to be the Good Samaritan, and I like to confess to you, sometimes I'm actually like the other two. Or I might be the one that likes to talk about what does being a good neighbor looks like. And sometimes we are the one that needing to ask for help, receive that help. So let me just invite you to that narrative of just have open-minded to what God may be drawing you to and relate to the character that is being introduced in the story that you well know. And feel free to close your eyes if you rather just close your eyes and hear this story and imagine this story. So he was asked, "Who is my neighbor?" Jesus answering said, "A certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among thieves, which stripped him of his raiment and wounded him and departed, leaving him half dead. And by chance, there came down a certain priest that way. And when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. And likewise, a Levite. When he was at the place, he came and looked on him and passed by on the other side. But a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion on him, and went to him, and bound up his wounds, pouring in oil and wine, and set him on his own beast, and brought him to an inn, and took care of him. And on the morrow, when he departed, he took out 2 pence, and gave them to the host, and said unto him, Take care of him, and whatever thou spentest more, when I come again, I will repay thee. Which now of these 3 thinkest thou was neighbor unto him that fell among thieves? And he said, He that showed mercy on him. Then said Jesus unto him, Go and do that likewise. don't need your answer. I'm gonna ask questions. Have you just have conversation with Jesus. Who are you in this story? Who do you want to be in this story?
As himself.
I'm gonna have us dare to imagine ourselves as the one needing the help of the Samaritan. Grant, do we have pens and paper?
Yes, I'll get it. I'm sorry, I forgot to do that. I'll get that. Yeah.
So would you also, before we transition into an activity, just maybe discuss with your neighbors, how would you like to be the Good Samaritan? In this situation that we read, how would you have responded, and how would you like to as well? Just talk amongst each other. Imagine that I am that person that is able to host someone, the practice the financial generosity of being able to say, here's all I have, which you also take care of. But sometimes I'm not sure if while I like to think I want to do that, but I don't know how to do that sometimes. Because I could get it into my head. I was like, oh, what if it doesn't work out? Right? When I help someone, or what if does that someone deserve it? Or maybe, who knows what happened? I don't know. Am I helping someone that shouldn't be helped? But part of my journey in learning to help others, quote unquote, is learning to discern, yes, when is it my help that I am to take forward in? Because just because we see a need doesn't mean it's our need to say yes to. As well as the courage to cross the street, journey to something that is uncomfortable, go to the far distance to the unknown. Yes, I could sing Into the Unknown for you. To be able to actually journey without knowing what did I sign up? And I think a lot of times being a good neighbor is that mystery, unknown space we enter. So, as I mentioned, I would like for us to kind of envision ourselves, put ourselves in a situation, imagine that we are the one in needing Good Samaritan, possibly. And I believe we all do, one way or another. There may be to be in community where it's not necessarily about who has more or who has less. Actually, we just get to bring what we have to the table and receive from the table and break bread together. I will give you a trigger warning. If you're, especially if your kids are here, this may be triggering the activity that we will be doing in the name of us experiencing what it might look like for us to receive help. I will invite you to fold your paper that you have into like this you're gonna make a 16 pieces of paper. So you're gonna fold once like this, and another like that, and then twice the other option. So twice vertically, twice horizontal. And then rip them so that you have 16 pieces of paper. And they don't have to look pretty, as long as you have 16 pieces of paper. Four by 4. You got it. No, you got it. 4 by 4. Yeah, 4 by 4. So, yes, and then tear them to 16 separate pieces of paper. And then make a stack of 4 paper, 4 groups of 4 pieces. So 4 by 4.
Mommy.
And I would invite 2 of you guys in the back to find a table space. Okay? So this simulation is called loss simulation. And the reason I said I will give you trigger warning is because essentially it might be triggering for some of us. And I will be honest, every time I do this, it is hard. And you get to choose how much you lean into the story or you keep a distance. That's up to you. And I do ask that if you're able to keep silence. So grab your first group of 4 pieces of paper and write 4 activities you enjoy. 1 activity on each square. So it could be dancing, it could be babysitting, it could be singing. 4 activities, separate, one on each pieces of paper. And only you will be looking at these pieces of paper, so don't feel like you need to spell correctly, or as long as you know what you put, you're fine. And then grab the second group after the 4 activities. Second group, 4 things you are thankful for. So it could be family, community, weather, Hawaii. And if you need to know how to spell my name, it is S-E-R-O. The third group, and this one's not to be grouped, but name individual names of people who are important to you. So I do realize there's at least one family here that is greater than 4. So God bless you.
You gotta choose.
Oh no, totally. Second group is the 4 things you are thankful for. Mhm.
Second, what is
Third one, people. The people that are important to you. So please don't group them as friends, children. That's not allowed. You have to name them. That's why I said, I'm sorry for those of you that are, like, that your family is much bigger. Like, choose.
So the second group is
The second one's thankful for.
oh,
Yeah. So like family is, you could be thankful for family, but not necessarily individual family, right? Like that are important to you. I'm not saying that's not important to you. I'm just saying.
say children? Not
No. I know, it's hard. So first group, first activities. Second, what you are thankful for. Third, those who are important to you. Fourth, 4 roles you play. 4 roles you currently play. So for me, sister, auntie, daughter, nonprofit worker. So whatever role that you play, a friend, mentor, encourager, pastor. So once you're ready, please lay them out 4 by 4, where you're able to see all 16 pieces of paper and a glimpse of your life right in front of you. Take time to look at your glimpse of your life in front of you. And I do ask that you remain quiet. The simulation is about to start. Please remain quiet. Your country has been at war since before you were born. You never know when you leave your home to go to school or work if you will return home safely. Things are getting worse. Your children haven't gone to school in 6 months. It's not safe for them to leave the house. You just heard that your neighbor was kidnapped. Yesterday, there was a bombing at the market you go to every day. You fear death will come to you and your family. You must flee. There are no longer any other options. Your family cannot say goodbye to anyone as it could threaten your safety on the journey. What will you take with you? In the next minute, quickly, Choose one thing or person from each pile that you have to leave behind. Tear up the papers and throw them to the side. Quickly choose. One from each pile. And I will ask you reflective question during simulation. They are just for you to sit with. Tear them and put them aside. How does it feel to have to make a quick decision about what you have to leave behind? Turn piles over so you can't see what's written on them. Without looking, take one piece of paper from each pile, tear them in half, and throw them away. Do not look. How does it feel to not know what you have just lost? Your family survived the journey crossing the border, but now you must wait in a refugee camp. You've had no contact with other family members or friends. Are they safe? Is your home still standing? Did your neighbors make it out safe? Keeping all piles face down, sit quietly and ponder your loss and unknowns of your future. And please keep your hands at your knees. How does it feel to have things taken right in front of you? How does it feel to lose more than others? Or not to lose while others did? You have lost power to make decisions for yourself or your family. How does it feel to lack control over your circumstances, your losses, and your future? There are so many families in the refugee camp. You are beginning to realize you may wait here for years. Will your family's claim for refugee status be granted? Will you be chosen to resettle? This group is lucky. One of you will be chosen for refugee resettlement. Fernanda, you will leave for the United States next week. When you arrive in the US, you will have no control about where you live. You must rely on a single case manager or possibly a volunteer and entrust your lives to a stranger. And rest of you, you must wait in the refugee camp. The United Nations officer will be back in 6 months to inform the camp if anyone else will be chosen for resettlement this year. You can turn over your papers and see what you still have. So thank you for letting me walk you through the exercise. It is intense. And every single time I do this, I do hold the weight of it with you. Knowing the privilege of this being assimilation. Wow, this is many people's narrative. Over 130 million people are displaced right now. The average stay of refugee camp in Lebanon, last I've heard, was 17 years. In the year 2020, over 1 million babies were born at the camp. They're not different than we are. They're just people on this side of heaven experiencing the brokenness. So, is anyone willing to share what this experience was like for you?
Painful.
Painful.
Heartbroken.
Heartbroken. What was the hardest part? Turning over to see what you lost, comparing with what you have left, right? For me, is often naming them, because granted, I could have told you this, I could have hold on to not telling you what this simulation is called, right? I told you it was called loss simulation. So because of my privilege of having done this multiple times, sometimes I like to cheat and may not want to name because I don't want to lose things that are important to me. That's my privilege, right? And yeah. What was it like when I came around and took things either from you or from your neighbor?
I felt helpless because he lost everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
Yeah.
would have lost me.
Yeah. Anyone lose, like in situation where you're still a sister, but you lost actually your sibling? You know what I mean? Like I've had one time, I was still left being an auntie, but my niece and nephew weren't. So then who am I auntie to? Yes, I do have the privilege of being able to be auntie to others. But what does that mean? So this is where we're gonna take a break, because we all, in ways, may need time to just sit with the Lord whatever that makes sense for you. We'll come back at 7:30. Just sit with the Lord. Sit with the Lord. Yes, go take restroom break if you like. Go take a little walk if you like. And we'll come back at 7:30.